I think we have seen Carlos Queiroz final World Cup squad. I say that because I think in naming 5 goalkeepers, the manager is essentially saying that he wants to take away 2, and then the final 26 is what you will see. And so as far as the outfield players are concerned, I don't expect any changes to be made. But it also perhaps suggests that he is not convinced with Benjamin Asari as number 1 and wants to give a number of players the opportunity to prove themselves. The first controversial decision was the decision to reintegrate Baba Rahman into the team. Football-wise, it makes sense. But there are issues beyond that. I say it makes sense football-wise because since Baba Rahman went on this self-imposed exile, we have burned through 5 different left-backs or wing-backs, if you like, ostensibly to find a competent one, and we failed. Some of the players who we've given opportunities to in that time, you would not even remember their names because their contributions were that insignificant. So Isaac Affle has been there, Phil to Hackett, Ibn Zanan. I think the latest attempt was Derrick Kohn, who came into the team on the back end of last year. Ultimately, we reverted back to Gideon Mensah, not because he checks all the boxes, but because he's an experienced player who knows the team and is a safe pair of hands, if you like. And so majority of the competitive games he has played after each experiment failed. So there is room for one name to be introduced into the dynamics again to see if he can compete with Gideon Mensah and be better. And that is where someone like Baba Rahman, who has been the best performing Ghanaian left back in Europe for years, comes in. But that's as far as the credits for the Baba Rahman argument goes, because I don't want a situation where players walk into the national team and leave at will. I want players who are prepared to suffer for the national team. I want players who are committed to a fault and can take in the criticism of being a national team because it comes with it. This is who we are as Ghanaians. We are passionate. Sometimes we go overboard with our criticisms. And if you want to walk in and out of the national team, it is not a great look. And I think anyone who questions Baba Rahman's reintegration into the team is a valid question. Again, is he not being opportunistic? I mean, when others have made themselves available just before major tournaments, we have questioned their commitments and their intentions. We have called them out for opportunism. I think it's a valid concern for anyone to raise, because if Baba Rahman had returned, for example, after we failed to qualify for the AFCON, at the beginning of the World Cup qualifiers, the chips were down. The morale was low. We were in crisis. In that moment, if he had said, I'm available, I'm here to help rebuild the team, I think that would have looked at Baba Rahman's situation a bit differently than we are now. And so, yes, football-wise, there is an argument to be made, but it is not a great look that he can walk in and out of the national team at will. The other player or the other questions that I've got have to be the decision to leave out Joseph Paintsil. He scored 15 goals, had a couple of assists in 35 games or over 30 games this season. How does a player like that not make the Black Stars squad for the World Cup? It's completely inexplicable, and I'm sorry. It's one of those decisions that I don't think anyone can justify, especially when you have players who have made a habit of being mediocre in the national team being selected over him. Iñaki Williams, look, I don't think Iñaki Williams should ever play for the Black Stars again. I was never in favor of him coming to play for us after saying that he didn't feel Ghanaian enough and he didn't want to play for us. I think that when you say things like that, you effectively shut the door on your chances of playing for us. He said that he didn't apologize, and then later we reintegrated him into the team. And to make matters worse, he has been, without doubt, the worst performer in the Black Stars in the 4 years that he's been around. He's played 25 games, he scored, I think, just about 2 goals. And the thing about Iñaki Williams is, irrespective of how well he does at Athletic Bilbao, when he walks into the Black Stars, he simply can't hack it. He's missing sitters. He's struggling to connect with his teammates. He offers nothing. And I don't see the point of persisting with this experiment that has failed for 4 years. Look, 4 years is a long time to be failing in the national team. And for an experienced player like him, he's not going to get any better. And so I'm very disappointed that Iñaki Williams has made the World Cup squad. Another player that I'm surprised has made it is Erneat Nuamah. I'm surprised because this season Erneat Nuamah has played, 32 minutes in the entire season. Mainly because of the ACL injury that he picked up. He's played just 32 minutes. He's not completed even 45 minutes of football. And for a player like him, that is a big deal because his game is built on his explosiveness and how quick he is. All attributes that he is able to use best when he has much rhythm and much sharpness. He doesn't have that as we speak. And so, on what basis is Erneat Nuamah going into the World Cup? Yes, when he's played for the Black Stars, he's done fairly well. But in order, as I've said, in order for us to get that good performance from him, the foundation for his performance has always been much sharpness, good rhythm, because of the way he plays. Without that, I doubt that he will be able to have the sort of impact. And look, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that we will return from the World Cup and Erneat Nuamah would not have made a significant contribution to our cause. And to think that he and Iñaki Williams have made the squad when someone like Joseph Paintsil has not made it, for me, is pretty disappointing. The final point that I'm going to make has to be on the midfield composition and what it says about where Carlos Queiroz is. I think we're going to see a 2-man midfield and not a 3-man midfield because he's gone with just 4 out-and-out central midfielders. So Elisha Owusu, Kwesi Sibo, Thomas Partey, and then Caleb Irenchi. I do hope that Irenchi gets to play in midfield. I'm tired of this field experiment of playing him out wide. Marvin Senaya is in the team. Let's make it work. Let's find a way to make it work. If he can't hack it, play Seydou Alidu there or Abdul Mumin or someone. Just don't waste our best central midfield talents by playing him out of position. But back onto the central midfield case, I think that he's going to go with a midfield 2. I think Partey is a guaranteed starter. I think Caleb Irenchi is, by virtue of the season that he's had, going to partner him in midfield. Further up, I think we're gravitating towards 3 wide players behind the striker. At best, the closest you would come to finding someone other than a pure out-and-out winger is the man who plays for Saint Etienne, Augustin Boateng. Maybe he's the guy who can play in behind Jordan Ayew as a centre forward if Jordan is the one starting for us. But the number of wingers he's picked tells me that in every game, you're going to see a minimum of 3, sometimes a minimum of 2, sometimes 3, because he speaks 6 wingers. So that's what I think about the squad. But generally, it's a good squad in really difficult circumstances.